Well, hi.
We're live. Hey, everybody. Happy solstice.
Happy solstice. Welcome to the first debut of Summer Solstice, a soul stream, as I'm calling it, with the Sister Stargazers. I am Sarah Valentine.
And I'm Jude Valentine.
And this is so exciting. So
yeah, this is really very exciting for us.
Yeah, put your comments in the stream chat. Thanks, Michael from Maine. And I think we should just jump right into what is a very hot summer solstice season. We're ready to take your comments and just see what's happening. We're going to be here for a while, so just join on in. What's happening, Jude?
Well, the sun moves into Cancer at 0 degrees Cancer, 0 degrees, 0 minutes Cancer at 5:14 a.m. on June 21st, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is really momentous. It's one of the turning points of the year. I think I mentioned that in our podcast. And it's one of those markers, you can go outside and look at where the sun rises on summer solstice. It will not travel any farther north. It's reached its most northern point on the horizon at this time of year. And from this point, it will stand still.
Right.
Or look like it's standing still, which is what solstice means. Is sol is sun and still is stis. And so solstice.
Sun standing still.
Sun standing still. So it will stand still on that horizon. It will rise and at that point for a few days, and then it will start to move south.
Yeah.
Or more towards true east. So this is just one of those days, just like the winter solstice and just like the vernal equinoxes, that mark a point in the seasonal year, the annual turning of the earth around the sun.
Yeah.
And most of our celebrations are based on these quarter days, these cross quarter days, which are the Lammas in August, Halloween in October, St. Bridget's Day in February, and May Day.
Yeah.
Those are the cross quarter days, and then you have the solstices and the equinoxes that round that out to this 8-segmented annual circle of the sun's of the Earth circling around the sun. Yeah. So if there's something you want to start, if there's something that you want to end, this is a good point to draw a line and say, from this point forward, whatever it is, my intention is, and from this point forward, I'm leaving this behind.
Yeah.
These are all good things to do around this time. Cleaning is a really good
get in the closet
activity. Packing things away that you don't need for right now, but also just kind of purging, like releasing stuff that really you've been carrying around that you're not really sure why you even still have it in your possession. It's not helping you. It's nothing you need anymore. So Goodwill, or your local charity, whatever it is. But so there's a lot going on in the sky. There always is, but for right now, at this solstice, there's a quarter of the sky that's really active, and it's from Pisces through Aries through Taurus.
Okay.
And then the sun being in Cancer, a little bit of Gemini, because we have Mercury entering Gemini and it's just past its echo phase. So any decisions that you were having trouble making are now ready to go forward. I mean, Mercury retrograde ended a few weeks ago, but it's now Mercury is back has moved past the degree where it started to go retrograde. So that's called an echo phase, when you can still kind of have these reverberations of not being able to get clarity or things not working right, like websites not populating on the DSN records checker, that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
So it's things now at this point are ready to move forward. And it's great because the sun is now moving forward. And you can take these few days, like while the sun is getting ready to move in its opposite direction, you can take these few days to just kind of hone in on what your intentions are. So there's a buffer, there's a little bit of buffer. You don't have to make everything, declare everything tomorrow at 5:14 in the morning, but you have a few days. And then what happens traditionally is a celebration called Midsummer Day.
Yeah.
Which is the day the sun starts moving towards the south.
Yeah.
And this was a celebration in England, Scandinavia, the Swedish, Finland, all of those countries.
Yeah.
Because that was such a big deal. I mean, the sun,
Well, especially that far north, Yeah.
So Midsummer's Day, it's an ancient holiday that it calls for celebration, and people would dance. It's a fire festival, basically. And it was also co-opted by the church, the Catholic Church, which claimed it as St. John the Baptist Day. And this is traditionally June 23rd or 24th. It's the day the sun starts moving, starts moving again on the horizon. And so the church authorities assigned June 24th as St. John the Baptist Day, his birthday, and St. John the Baptist foretold the birth of Christ.
Right.
And then 6 months later, on December 24th, we have Christ's
winter solstice.
birthday. So it was this kind of co-option of the more ancient traditions that were based in the actual in the actual experience of Earth rather than some kind of conceptual religion.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
I'm watching the chat. Not yet. But do we want to try to show the astrological chart of the solstice?
We could.
We could try. I think I can share. Ooh, what did I just do? I just changed the layout.
Oh, now how'd you do that, Sarah?
I clicked the button. It's very fancy over here in our makeshift studio. Are you sharing your screen though?
No. Do you? How can I do that?
How about this one? How about this one? No. Did anything shift there? Because what's interesting is, like you were saying, there's all this activity in the chart. This solstice day is a snapshot of this time in the astrological calendar, where we can also see the other planets that are at play, which is why it'd be cool if we could show the chart.
I have a share button.
Ooh, let's try it.
Share screen.
Yeah, share screen.
Share screen.
It did share.
Hold on. Select window. Bear with us, everybody.
All one of you out there watch. Right now we have one watching. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
I gotta select my screen. Okay. Entire screen. Okay. No. Allow. I am sorry.
That's okay. We are figuring this out. We are figuring this out.
Try this again.
Try it again.
Share screen.
We're live streaming. We've got all night. We can figure this out. What did it say now? Maybe if I try this.
It wants me to allow
your screen. Okay, go for it.
Allow.
Release the star chart. It's coming. It's coming. We're going to figure out how to do this.
The star chart is coming. The browser, I can't access it. Okay,
while Jude is troubleshooting that, I would like to point out to everybody a Goodwill find that I got a couple weeks ago for 50 cents in the kids section at the Goodwill. Our Goodwill is great. It actually separates the books into their categories. So, and then because I spend so much time in the Goodwill, sometimes when I get bored, I pick out all all the like esoteric and occult books, and I put them in one section so that I can like continue to find them. So the kids section had this night sky book. So while Judah's looking, I just want to read a little bit. It has a page about the solstices and the equinoxes. And it says at noon on these dates, now I don't know how accurate this is, but on noon on these dates, the sun will reach its highest positions in the sky for those observers in the hemispheres tilted towards the sun, and the lowest for those in the hemispheres tilted away. Because right now in the southern hemisphere, they're actually entering a winter season. So we're opposite. And then Midsummer Day is the longest and the shortest days, because now we're going to start experiencing that the days are going to be decreasing in light a little bit by little bit as we head towards the winter solstice, right? The days are going to be getting shorter. Anyway, that's just a little point of astronomy wise for those Astro-Curious out there. Astronomy and astrology here on Sister Stargazers.
Right. And the browser can't access my screen.
Oh, man.
So I'm like,
Can it access my screen? I wonder if it can access my screen. Share screen.
It should be. It's pretty straightforward. I've hit all the right things. It says use Chrome if you'd like to share. Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, I see. Yeah, if I do it, it wants to open system preferences. Well, maybe that's for the next live stream. Well.
Okay. All right. Well, we can
imagine in your mind, if you will, the star chart for the, well, we could talk about one of the aspects, and I could try to pull up this. Share. Maybe because I'm the host. This is fascinating viewing for all of you out there.
Well, I hope it is. Let me see. Okay, so we can talk about the aspects, and we have a couple of really important aspects that are going on and coming to a kind of a peak this summer that are lining up at the time of the summer solstice. And one of them is Mars in Aries, and it's making a conjunction to Eris in Aries, which is then making a conjunction to Uranus. So Mars is making a conjunction to Eris, and Uranus is moving into a conjunction with the North Node. So there's a bit of there's some coupling of planets that are going on between now and August 1st that are going to be really kind of a challenge to us, and also really help us to kind of make some choices. So I can talk about that.
Yeah, because you're
okay, unless there's other questions.
Well, I know Michael really wants the star chart, but we're gonna have to find it some other time. Here I can put us. Ooh, wow, we just got really big. This is sort of an exciting experiment here.
Okay, so so Mars aligning with Eris it's not quite there yet. It's only 4 degrees away at the time of the solstice. So Eris is the troublemaking sister of Mars, but she's also she stands up for the underdog. She wants everyone to be included. She works for the inclusion of the oppressed and the marginalized. So with Mars moving into a conjunction with Eris, it's giving Mars a little more of a agency and a purpose. And Eris is kind of enlisting Mars's energy. So there's this sense of an energizing of marginalized peoples or issues, things that have not been addressed, that are needing to be addressed, are coming up and there's also a lot of passion around any number of issues. And it also, because it's in Aries, right, it has to do with an individual's rights, an individual's choice, and individual's sovereignty.
Yeah.
So there's a number of issues right now in the zeitgeist that are kind of about those concerns. There's concern on those particular individual rights, and those are going to be highlighted at the time of this summer. The solstice is just a chart for the next 3 months. Basically, it's setting a tone for. It's the overarching energies of the next 3 months. The summer solstice, this pivotal moment when the sun moves into 0 degrees Cancer.
Yeah.
So there's that's happening. There's also Uranus, the planet of surprise, intuition, enlightenment, sudden bing, getting like a whack on the head, just not literally, but just like kind of like going, oh my God, that's what that's about.
Yeah, revelation.
Uranus, just like all the pieces almost, like all of a sudden they just fit together. Uranus is going to be conjunct the North Node at the end of July. So between the 28th of July and the 1st of August, there's this kind of this meeting of Mars, which moves into Taurus, meets up with Uranus at 18 degrees Taurus, which also meets up with the North Node. So Mars, this energizing principle in Taurus, meeting up with Uranus in Taurus, meeting up with the North Node in Taurus, is really going to be, it's another point where any number of things that are very critical could happen, because it's the North Node, because it's Uranus, and because it's Mars. So typically when Mars and Uranus get together, there's some kind of fireworks, explosions. So this could be anything that manifests from, a tsunami, earthquake kind of event to more of just like an invention of some kind that takes us into a new way of being able to organize our culture. I mean, it can be that broad in terms of scope. So that's kind of happening now, as we're starting the summer solstice. Things are, as we move into the summer solstice season and we look at the summer solstice chart, we can see that Uranus is at 17 Taurus, and it's only 4 degrees away from the North Node at 21 degrees Taurus. So Taurus is pretty, it's a very stable, it likes stability. It likes, it's a stubborn energy. It's, like it digs its heels in. It likes proof. It's very methodical.
Yeah.
It's also about the things that we value. So money and anything that money buys can be ruled by Taurus. Land is another rulership of Taurus. Cattle, these types of wealth, traditional wealth, commodities, the stock market, these are all part of Taurus. So that could be another way that this manifests, is something with the stock market or something with the dollar or another currency. So these are all just things to kind of look for, like astrology doesn't predict.
Right.
It puts out a range of probabilities, and that's, you can kind of look at these probabilities as manifesting in one way or in another way. It's multivalent. It could be on a high level, which propels us forward, or on a lower level, which kind of is a disaster.
Right.
I mean, I'm not laughing because that's a disaster, but it's just, it can happen that way.
Yeah.
It's up to us to really think about where we want to be and how we want to move things forward. So
let me Go
Yeah.
ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I just did something to shift our layout there because I did find, I'm just going to attempt super quick to see if I can share the screen super quick. I wonder if I can do it. Because I did happen to find a chart because I know we are on different computers. Just to give people a little tiny bit of a visual. So bear with us, folks. Thanks for living. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. There's also like a really great Walt Whitman poem about the solstice that I could share a little bit in just a second. Let me just see here. Share screen. Oh yeah, there it is. Ooh, share. Will it do it?
I don't know.
Oh man, I'd have to go and no, I don't want to leave the site. All right, it's not gonna let me do it. Anyway, we'll have to come back and try that at another time. So that Uranus aspect is one aspect. Is there one that balances out that kind of unpredictable global shock aspect that's happening also around the time of the solstice? That's like maybe more stable or more, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a number of things. Yeah, and I don't mean to dwell on the gloom and doom.
No.
But yeah, Venus is in Taurus as well.
We love Venus.
Yeah, I mean Venus is in her home sign of Taurus.
Yeah.
And she's at 28 degrees Taurus. And Sedna, which is a dwarf planet that's way out, way out, is the farthest point out of our solar system. Sedna is and it's one of the new dwarf planets that have been discovered in the last 20 years. And these are really significant, these dwarf planets, because they're really connected to our level of consciousness. So we have like the seven planets, the classical planets, and then we have the transpersonal planets beyond Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And then we have these out beyond, and sometimes they're orbiting in the Kepler belt, which is beyond Neptune. So they come into the orbit of the Earth, of the ecliptic, and then they go out. So they orbit they pass through the orbit of the ecliptic, where all the seven classical planets hang out. And probably if I could share my screen, I could show you a good chart of that. But so there's one that's in our more in our neighborhood, and that's Ceres, which is the asteroid goddess of grain, and she's orbiting between, I think it's Mars and Jupiter. But Sedna's way out there, and she's at 29 degrees Taurus, and so Venus is right next. They're in a conjunction. So this is really saying that we should do what we love.
Yeah.
To bring our soul into its most aligned place.
Yeah.
For moving everything forward. And this is really remarkable that Sedna has been discovered, and her signature has been kind of categorized as this destiny, kind of soul destiny kind of signature. Yeah. And that Venus is right next to Sedna at the time of this solstice. So the summer is really looking like a time when you're being asked to follow a path of joy and love, which is much, we haven't had that for a long time. We haven't had that kind of energy available to us for a while, that we can exist in joy, and we can move forward in joy, and we can do what brings us joy. That's one of the signature not so much sayings, but it's one of the signatures for this time of year.
Yeah. And Sedna is an extraordinary story. We did a lot on Sedna in a couple of our previous podcasts, but it is synchronous that she was discovered when she's discovered, and that now we get to actually incorporate her into our astrological understanding of her influence now.
Yeah, Sedna is it's about the abandonment of the feminine.
Yeah.
And it's the Inuit, very succinctly, it's an Inuit story. It's an Inuit mythology of a maiden that was, and again, it's another sovereignty, has a theme of sovereignty, because she didn't want to marry. And she didn't want to marry, not just that she didn't want to marry, but she wanted to choose her own suitor.
Exactly.
And so her father presented many suitors, and he wanted her to marry, and she said no, 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 and she was very beautiful, and so the father was getting upset with her, and kind of threatening, and so there was a kind of a demon man that showed up, but of course presented himself in a very handsome way. And so she was like, okay, I'll go and live with you. This would be wonderful. She fell in love with him, and they went to live together. And then he revealed himself as a demon.
Yeah.
So she was calling for her father to come and save her. And so the father came in his canoe and rescued Sedna, but the demon turned into a bird and was like flying over them. And as they were trying to escape in their canoe, the father was so freaked out that he wanted to save himself. So he threw Sedna overboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was like, struggling and trying to get back into the canoe. And he basically cut off her fingers so that couldn't climb back into the canoe, and then hastened, so she fell into the ocean. All of her fingers became the animals of the ocean. And she's still at the bottom of the ocean. And so this whole mythology of pulling Sedna back into the collective consciousness, the understanding of that myth, and how the feminine was abandoned. There was this abandonment by the patriarchy of the feminine, and how that is playing out, kind of in our culture.
Absolutely.
And how we need to pay attention to that and see what needs to be done now, So Sedna is a feminine archetype, and has and is dealing with issues of abandonment. So this idea of joy and love, kind of healing those issues, is part of what the summer solstice can offer. Betrayal and abandonment issues are also part of that. But then, following the thing that you enjoy the most, that you love the most, that bring healing.
Yeah. And that healing speaks to isn't there another aspect to Mars of Chiron, which is the wounded warrior? So does that play in as well?
Yeah. So at the time of the solstice, Mars is at 20 degrees, and he's at the midpoint between Chiron at 16 degrees Aries and Eris at 24 degrees Aries. So so Chiron is another mythology of the wounded healer. He was the centaur, half man from the waist up, and the body of a horse, and the legs and body of a horse. But he was a wise centaur. Many of the centaurs, who are also dwarf planets, have been, have a wild mythology and a reckless mythology. But Chiron was the assistant, or he was the helper of Hercules, I think, and was the healer. I mean, he taught how he taught how to heal.
Yeah.
So chiropractic is,
Oh,
chiron.
that's so cool. I love when that happens. That's
So
awesome.
chiro, I think, means hands,
Okay.
and hands-on healing is
Nice.
part of Chiron's signature. So that is also when Chiron was discovered in the 70s. Chiropractic was just beginning to be recognized as a
legitimate
yes.
practice. Yeah. Very cool.
So Chiron is involved in this setup as well.
So it could be that and how that might work its way into our individual lives could be that issues of healing might come up, or we might have experiences where healing is called. How might that, I mean, it will be different for everybody because according to where Chiron might be in your chart, it could affect it could influence in different ways, but in general.
Right. Well, wherever Aries is in your personal chart, you want to note that.
Oh, wherever Aries is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like a general chart. So we're looking at where Aries is, and we're looking at where Chiron is now in Aries at 16 degrees. Just past Chiron is Mars at 20 degrees, and just past Mars is Eris. So these three are in a stellium. It's kind of a grouping of planets. They're a little far apart, but Mars in the middle. So Mars is 4 degrees from Chiron and 4 degrees from Eris. And he's just kind of holding the energy. He's the bridge between Chiron, the healer, and Eris, the energy that's going to do something about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mars is kind of like the activator. And the initiator, and it's in Aries anyway. So it's going to say to you, you can take that on, you can heal that, whatever it is, you can institute a routine in your day. You can, start seeing a massage therapist or a chiropractor or some kind of healer to begin the process. This would be a good time to make that appointment, even to do one of those challenges, like emotional freedom technique. The tapping solution has a challenge every once in a while. And they also have this great app, the tapping solution, that you can go in and start to heal whatever issue it is, like procrastination or depression or anxiety or sleeplessness or any of the things that you're worrying about, with yourself, whatever it is. I mean, certainly seek out professional help, but this is an occasion. This point of the summer solstice is a time when you can take that action, whatever it is, whether it's being more self-aware or doing, changing your routine. You can do that and have some results by the end of the summer. So those are some of the good pieces of what's going on. We can also look at Neptune.
Yes, let's look at Neptune. And I just want to welcome people who have been joining us and welcome to the Soul Stream. This is your deep dive into the summer solstice. I'm Sarah. This is Jude. We're the Stargazers. You can also hear our podcast, and we also have a live call-in radio show on Monday nights. Every when it's not a third Monday. So we're going to do live streams on third Mondays. So and we're right now looking just at the summer solstice. Yeah. So Neptune, where is Neptune in this, and why is that worth paying attention to?
Okay, let me just pull up the chart for me.
I know. I wish I'm kind of
okay.
Hey, well, and while you're hey to Autumn, hey to Carla, thanks for tuning in. Hey to Michael. Carla has a question about if it's a good time to ask for a promotion at work. I don't know. If
it depends.
It may feel like it, but maybe not the time to take action.
Well, it really depends on where Aries is in your chart. So if Aries is in the 10th house, I would say yes, because Mars is there, but you might get a, you might get asked to do a self-assessment, or you might be, so because Chiron is there as well, there might be a trade-off. Yes, you get a raise, but you also get, a bit of a critique, so, it's not, I mean, if you're feeling like it's a good time, and depending on where what your sign is, I think, Carla, I think you're a Gemini. So I would wait until Venus moves into Gemini. And Venus is going to do that pretty soon. So she's going to take about 3 weeks to go through Taurus. So I would wait for you. I would wait until Venus moves into Gemini, because Venus is going to be, is going to give you more love, more worth, more money. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, sure. That was good. All right. So
yeah, we're going to chat about Neptune.
Yeah. So Neptune's at 25 degrees of Pisces,
which is its home sign, which it loves.
Yes. And it's hanging out in Pisces. It's been hanging out in Pisces for a while.
Yeah, such a slow mover.
Yeah, and so it's home there. It loves just to think about the giant, big picture and dream. Neptune is a dreamer, and can be very intuitive. So anybody out there who's a Piscean, Neptune moving through your sign can give you just an incredible sense of oneness. With, you're already Neptune. I mean, Pisces is already kind of out there in terms of feeling like the oneness of everything. But Neptune going through your sign is going to give that like an extra push.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more of this sense of expansion, and there are no boundaries. Where do I end and where does the other person begin? That whole sense of formlessness and numinous, that's the invisible, what's behind the scrim, those kinds of things. Neptune is making it really easy for us to
the sun is coming down behind you.
Neptune's making it really easy for us to dream bigger and to come into like an accord with nature, like to help us like really see like all of the different ways that nature is alive. It's the vast ocean of the collective is what it's the collective unconscious is what Neptune is in Pisces. It's the ocean. You think about how large the ocean is and how much of it covers the earth, right? That's Neptune. And it's not just the surface, right? It's the depth. So there's this expanse of ocean, the vast oceans. And then there's the depth of the ocean and all that water and just everything kind of flowing. So Neptune it can also, it can give you those states of like altered awareness. And it can also, that are like, this incredible highs, right? Or just like, really cool insights. But then it can also, on the other hand, depending on where your consciousness is, it can also kind of spiral you down into feelings of depression and confusion and fog. So there are, the different states of water. And you think about that seascape, right? The winds, the ocean, the churning, the different kinds of waves, the different kinds of, smooth sailing, the different kinds of winds on the water. That's all related to Neptune. and also anything that lives in the water. So, I mean, we can take a look at what aspects Neptune is making as well. It's making a sextile to the North Node, which is really great because it's helping us to dream. So sextiles are an easy aspect. There's a great flow between the 2 points. So Neptune and Pisces, North Node and Taurus. So Neptune is helping us realize our dreams. So we can envision it and we can ground it. So between visioning and grounding, that's where the summer is going to be. And I'm thinking there's a couple of other aspects that are saying that as well that we just talked about, like that North Node conjunct Uranus and Venus conjunct Sedna. Yeah, the moon is conjunct Neptune is in this chart for the summer solstice. So that's also like the moon has such a play on the tides. So that's also giving us this really deep imaginative capacity to kind of hone into what our next steps might be, and kind of feel that out, go with the feeling. And Venus is also, let me see here. We're still talking about Neptune. Yeah, Venus is also sextile Neptune. So that's another great aspect because Venus is conjunct Sedna, right? And Neptune is sextile Venus and sextile Sedna. So Neptune is giving us this dream quality, and then the Taurian planets, Venus and Sedna, are saying, make it real, find your joy and make it real. As well as the Uranus conjunct the North Node with Mars right there. So those are Uranus conjunct the North Node, and then Mars coming in later in the summer to kind of activate that whole group of points. So yeah, it's very dynamic. It's a make it real summer, There's a lot of support also from Pluto. So Pluto's been our friend for the last, since 2008, it's been in Capricorn. And it's been playing with the markets. Did I lose you, Sarah? I can't hear you.
I'm back.
Oh, I don't know. How long was I rambling on?
Doing great. My computer just crashed. It just completely crashed. So, but the funny thing is, like, I'm monitoring with a different computer. So while I was frantically trying to get the computer back up and running, I was like, "You're doing great. You're doing great." At some moment, she's going to realize I'm not here, and then I hopefully got back in. I don't know what happened. It just crashed. I don't know what happened.
Was I still broadcasting?
Yeah, you were on.
Oh, God, all by myself.
You did it! Yay! All by yourself.
Oh God, this is crazy. Okay.
Oh, we've got a question in the chat. Hi, Sandra Albuquerque. If you have any angles or any aspects, is a great time for a promotion. Oh, that's great. That's addressing Carla's question.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. It's our first live stream. We're figuring out a whole bunch of stuff in the soul stream. The soul stream. Oh my gosh. So that was all Neptunian stuff. Any other aspects we want to cover for the solstice that people might find really interesting?
Well, I'm just looking at Sandra's question. Is it a question, or so if you have angles or any aspects, is it a great time?
Oh, that's true. Is it a question, or is it sort of like are you suggesting that if there are certain angles or aspects to the solstice? I don't know. Sandra, if you're listening, add in
would you clarify?
Clarifications.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So where were we? We were talking about something.
Well, you were talking about Neptune and Neptune's influence right now around the summer solstice.
I know what I was talking about. Pluto.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Pluto. So Pluto has been our friend, right? In the last since 2008.
Yeah.
Right. So Pluto's been taking things down. He's been taking things apart.
Yeah.
Not so much putting things back together, but going through Capricorn, it's all about our how we structure our world.
Yeah.
And the places, the institutions that that are the glue that kind of holds our society together. So Pluto has been very busy and is almost to the end of Capricorn, and we'll be going into Aquarius in 2023, and then we'll slide back into Capricorn. But right now it's at 28 degrees Capricorn in this solstice chart, and it's making trines to Sedna, Venus, and the North Node, and another asteroid goddess, which was part of 4 asteroid goddesses, which were discovered back in the 1800s, the early 1800s, Pallas Athene. So Pallas Athene is another feminine goddess, a feminine archetype of craft. So she's a mentally refined feminine archetype. So her realm is really about strategy and crafting and weaving. She was like she was a master weaver. So if you think about all 3 of those, you know, like she was also a consult when the kings and the generals wanted to they wanted to win the war. They called on Pallas to help them strategize. So they called on this higher feminine energy, basically. And Pallas was born out of the head of Zeus, right? So she was her father's daughter, and basically was just this incredible strategist. And also she and if you think about her work with craft like pottery, jewelry, all of those types of crafts need planning. So you don't just go in and throw a bucket of paint on a canvas, which is not what I'm advocating even for a painter at all. I'm not saying that that's, I'm saying that's one way of painting, right?
Right.
But it's very spontaneous. You're in the moment. You're just kind of splashing around, right? Pallas is much more of a planned, procedural.
There's technique, there's steps involved.
There's definitely technique and craft.
And can you say vision? Like,
So you want to so you start with a lump of clay, but in your mind, you want to know what form that's taking in order to shape it, right? So you start with a lump of silver, and in your mind, you want to start forming. You have the processes, you understand the temperature of the metal, all of the various technical aspects in order for it to be shaped into a ring, right? So these are not just, spontaneous, free, creative. This is what I'm expressing. I'm trying to make the clarity between Venus, which is very much about creativity and just expression, and then Pallas, which is much more studied, much more technical, much more process oriented. So Pallas is at 23 degrees Taurus. She's involved with this setup with the North Node, and is also 5 degrees away from Venus. So
can you see this?
What?
Oh, I hit a share button, and do you see the chart? Or
yeah,
no?
I see the chart there.
Oh, so is
nice.
this is not the chart you created, but it's a chart of the solstice from Ottawa, Canada. But can you see, is Pallas Athene on this chart?
Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hold on.
Ooh.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging in there with us, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so this is time. Yeah, that's right. So we got the time right. So it looks, no, Pallas isn't on this. Can you see my cursor here?
I can't see your cursor now.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
Maybe probably because I'm sharing the screen. What house are you in?
Okay, so I'm looking right here at the 12th house.
Okay. Can you see my cursor?
No.
Oh, you can't. Okay, you're in the 12th house, and
Pallas is right there at 20.
Oh, where the North Node is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my cursor, everybody, is on the North Node. I'm sorry if I'm screaming. I'm just so excited that I got this screen share to work. Okay, yeah, so my cursor, I'm sorry, you can't see my cursor. That's weird. Only I can see my cursor? Huh.
So Pallas is at 23 degrees.
Okay.
So she's, let me just make this big again, because I've got to, okay.
Can you control the layout? There's us and the layout.
Yes, I've got like multiple screens open. So hold on.
Okay.
No. So Pallas is right there at 20. She's right there between the North Node and see Venus.
Yeah.
Venus is like the little circle with the little cross underneath it. That's
right.
Venus.
Yeah.
So Sedna is on this side, is on the to the right of Venus, and Pallas is on the left of Venus.
Okay.
So we've got these feminine archetypes, right, with the North Node. So, well, they're a little far away from the North Node, but they're also, here's the trine. So do you see Pluto up here in the 8th house?
Yeah. I wish can you see my cursor now?
No.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
I don't know if anybody can see my cursor. Can anybody see my cursor?
Release the cursor.
Help us.
There must be some way.
Isn't there a pointer on this thing?
Ooh, that's a good. Let's look at settings. Gosh.
Well, we're sharing your screen, Sarah, so it should.
I know, you would think you could see my cursor.
Oh. Okay, so there's a trine. See this little triangle right in between? See, okay, Pluto's over here.
Well, if you look at the chart like it's a clock, what number o'clock is Pluto?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay, great. Little red symbol.
Yeah, but that's the little arms with the head in the middle.
Yep.
And the little cross underneath, right? He's making a trine over to Venus.
Yeah, there's a line.
Okay.
There's a line from the 8th house, and you can see in the inner circle the houses are labeled.
Yeah.
So in the 8th house is Pluto, and there's a line and a little triangle over to basically 9 o'clock where Venus is at. So
right.
Go ahead.
So this chart has a trine. In just one trine happening from Pluto, but in fact, Pluto's making an exact trine to Venus, which is shown, but Pallas is also there at 23 degrees. He's making a trine to that, and he's making a trine to Sedna. And he's also making a very wide trine to the North Node. So Pluto is our buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Pluto also, as a planet, has a giant heart on it.
Oh, wow.
So when they start taking pictures, I think with the Hubble telescope, when they started taking pictures with Hubble, right, they realized they got in close to Pluto, and there's this kind of like white shape of a heart, right?
So cool.
So Pluto is our helper, like we often give Pluto a bad name, he's a death, lord of death, right? But death is part of life. Yeah. There's a cycle that the vultures are part of our cycle of life. The carrion crows are part of the cycle. They clean up after the death. Yeah. And they kind of process the dead carcass. So Pluto is our helper in that he's kind of the composter of the processes. And when he's making a trine, he's saying, it's okay to change. It's okay to process. It's okay to release. It's okay to do, take whatever you're doing. If it's in a trine with Venus, take it further, transform it.
Yeah.
Work with it, work with the energy, release what you don't need. So that's an easy aspect of Pluto. I mean, Pluto, nothing Pluto asks you to do is by any means easy.
Right.
But it's also about like the process of clearing away so that you can begin anew. You can start something fresh. And that's what this solstice is about. You can clear away with ease and joy. You can clear away what no longer serves and bring forward the stuff that really makes your heart sing.
Yeah. And I think while you were talking with ease and joy, I found out how to put my cursor. Look at the cursor.
Brilliant,
So
Sarah.
here's Pluto over here in the 8th house and zoop, trine over to Venus.
Right.
Yeah.
And just in between, on either side of Venus is going to be Pallas and Sedna.
Which on this chart we don't have, but you can see too, like there's the degree in which this aspect is happening. And Taurus, sorry, you said Sedna and Pallas Athene are at like 23-ish.
23 and 29.
Right.
20,
Then it just happens that this chart doesn't have the asteroid goddesses, but next live stream, we will now know how to put the chart up.
Okay.
Woo! Anything else you wanna point out since we have the chart, which it is super heavy over on this side?
Yeah, it's like that quarter of the zodiac is just really activated.
Yeah. And again, here's the North Node, and you can see it's opposite the South Node, and then Uranus and the North Node are going to get closer. Who's going to get closer? Uranus is going to get closer to the North Node? Or the
the North Node is backing up, so the nodes always move backwards. Well, not always, but they usually work their way back.
Okay.
What appears to be backwards to us on Earth. So the North Node is going to be backing up to 18, and then Uranus is going to be coming forward into 18 and then Mars will come in and go, bing, bing, like a little pinball machine. So that's going to happen by the end of July, the beginning of August. But we should we could kind of maybe guess it now. We can start to feel it now, like what are some of the, kind of looming, kind of listening for looming kind of crises or debates or that kind of thing. There's kind of something out there that will get louder as Mars comes rolling out of Aries,
into Taurus. Here's Mars over here.
So what's not showing up on this chart either is on either side of Mars is Chiron
and Eris,
and Eris. So those are happening. You can see the moon has Jupiter, and we haven't talked about Jupiter, but the moon is conjunct Jupiter. So things are and pretty close to the Aries point. So that's making a square to the sun. So the moon is making a square to the sun, and it's going to be, it's kind of like things at this time are a little bit unresolved. It's a third quarter moon. We haven't gotten to the new moon yet, even though the sun is ingressing our summer solstice. The sun is ingressing new season, but we're still at this point where we have to release. So we're at this disseminating moon phase. The moon is conjunct Jupiter, and I think what could be really fun is if you could go to Earth Sky, you can actually see these planets in the morning.
Yes. So that's some visual astrology that people can actually take advantage of in this time frame. Earth Sky is I'll throw that in the chat. Earthsky.org. Well, we're just coming upon an hour. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? And we want to thank everybody who's tuned in. This was I'm declaring this a successful first live stream. We troubleshot a lot, including Jude's wardrobe this evening.
Well, thank you for hanging in there, everybody. Thank you.
So we're just coming on the hour, 8 p.m. What's a fun routine that somebody could do tomorrow to celebrate the solstice, other than going out and
here's a good one.
Throwing your arms up at the sun. What is it you do?
Well, you can do this tonight too. It's a fire ceremony. So every cross quarter day is it's basically a fire ceremony. You're looking at where the sun is. You're looking at the sun in relationship to the earth, right? So you can start a small fire and then jump over it. And when you jump over it, so this is another thing they used to do in England, in old England, when there was the agricultural, when it was much more of an agricultural seasonal, they would drive their cattle, they would start a fire and then drive their cattle through through the smoke
Mm.
to purify and kind of like smudge as a kind of an offering for the new season, to clear things out. And there was also like a tradition of fire jumping. So you don't have to start a big fire.
Yeah.
And you can use a candle, and just be safe. But
Yeah.
you can just jump over a flame. And when you do that, while you're in the air, while you're in that moment of suspension, you just put a thought out there to release whatever is no longer serving you. So while you're airborne, and probably it's just fractions of a second, right? You start the thought while you're getting ready to jump.
Yeah.
Get your fire going, your little candle going, and then you jump up over the fire, over the candle flame, and then just mentally release.
Yeah.
So while you're in the air and while the fire is bringing that up, letting it go,
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a purification process.
And can you, if you have multiple things to release, can you jump over the candle more times than once?
Yeah.
That's got to be where the nursery rhyme comes in. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jumped over the candlestick. Do you know that nursery rhyme?
I do, but I never thought about that.
I don't know.
Yes.
Why else is he jumping over but to celebrate the summer solstice?
That's a good one. We should research that one.
Yeah.
Wow. No, this was from my old friend and astrologer, Steve Nelson.
Oh, we love Steve Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge inspiration.
Blessings to you, Steve Nelson.
Yeah. Well, this was really fun, and we'll get another one scheduled. And now that we know the intricacies of live streaming,
every third Monday
of the month, will be our little ritual. So blessings to you all for a happy summer solstice.
Happy solstice.
And we'll see you at the next broadcast.
Sounds good. Yeah, listen to us on WMPG.
Yeah, here, let me put that in the chat. So that's wmpg.org, and because it's online, you can listen live Monday night.
You can call in all the Mondays except the third Monday.
Where you can find us now here on Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Bye for now.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.